This is Brian Shannon, and I'm the founder of Shannon and Associates, an independent consulting firm that partners with leadership teams and healthcare organizations to produce cost savings that range from $5 to $100 million. The key to our success? We hardwire the 8 habits of highly effective cost management into your organization's DNA to strengthen execution capacity and lower cost. By leveraging the hidden reserve of in-house experts, your organization no longer needs to rely on outside firms year after year. In the best-selling book The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg talks about how changing personal habits can actually change brain chemistry. He then goes on to talk about how keystone habits can create a chain reaction to influence other good habits. In a similar vein, he discusses how organizations were also able to make successful changes by developing and instilling good habits. During this talk, I will introduce habit number 4 of our 8 habits of highly effective cost management, doing the right things. Let's quickly review the 8 habits of highly effective cost management. First, set a goal to provide strategic context and burning platform. Second, quickly set targets and plans to align the goal and engage your management team. Third, count the right things. Fourth, do the right things to add value. Fifth, choke up the bat for quick wins and to grow execution capacity. Sixth, demand better results. Seventh, make sure to bake plans into your budgetary process and tracking tools. And eighth, stay the course. Not only will these habits help your organization to reduce cost, they will strengthen the capacity to sustain results and improve organizational performance in many other ways as well. Peter Drucker was quoted as saying that productivity is doing the right things and doing things right. And in Stephen Covey's book, First Things First, he describes a framework for prioritizing work that is aimed at long-term goals at the expense of tasks that appear to be urgent but are in fact less important. Jim Collins has observed how leaders tend to be very active as creating a great organization requires immense amount of doing. But he's also observed that doing often diverts leaders from deciding what to stop doing. As Jim Collins puts it, before leaders embark on new initiatives, they ought to figure out what to stop doing. The stop doing list is difficult for many healthcare leaders as it requires tough and politically sensitive decisions. But there is a bright side, as decisions to stop doing things frees resources for the most promising new opportunities or an expansion of existing services. There's been a lot written about the appeal of fantasy football. I would imagine that a big part of this appeal is that it allows its participants to function as pretend general managers. Real-life GMs have to figure out how to create the best team while also adhering to a salary cap. Should we spend more money on the offensive line versus the defensive secondary? Should we carry 3 tight ends or 4? If we carry 4 tight ends, we may only be able to carry 3 running backs. So as the GM in your organization, what things might you consider for your stop doing list so you can reallocate resources most effectively? Are there programs and services that have historically flown below the radar of your cost reduction efforts or that might be viewed as redundant or non-core? Are there assets that should be divested, such as dialysis, reference labs, home health, nursing homes, perhaps retail pharmacy? And has the organization become overly complex with too many projects and initiatives? Are we wasting our time and resources on improvement initiatives that are not producing results? How often have we heard the comment, I know we can become more efficient, but does every one of our hospitals need to be in the OB business? Does every one of our hospitals need to be in the heart business? Our hospitals seem to be competing with each other for business and we're not functioning as a system. We believe that a cost reduction effort presents organizations with a great opportunity to begin rationalizing the distribution of their services across their market area. There are significant benefits that can be produced through this rationalization, and they include reduced clinical and technology duplication, achievement of economies of scale, reaching the critical volume that's required for improved quality, and lastly, capital avoidance that's made possible through consolidation. This can easily translate to tens of millions of dollars in capital avoidance. In a similar vein, the time may be right to examine your portfolio of assets. This evaluation of core versus non-core assets will be aided by asking the following questions. Are these assets required to meet our mission? Do these assets advance our strategic plan? And can we deploy these resources more effectively elsewhere? You should note that organizations do not always address this concept of opportunity cost as systematically as they should. You might be surprised by our inclusion of projects and initiatives as an opportunity that you might wish to pursue on your stop doing list. These are not assets or service lines, but in a hidden way can drive cost and distract your managers from higher organizational priorities. Decisions to stop selected projects and initiatives will also signal your commitment to taking things off the plates of your leaders, which will be sincerely appreciated. Here, the organization should inventory its projects and initiatives and evaluate them in the terms of their impact on external customers, the extent of alignment of the project with the organization's strategy, the estimated cost to fund these projects, and the complexity of the project and the associated risks. Healthcare leaders in many organizations believe they've already picked the low-hanging fruit, so it would make sense to them if they look to overweight their cost savings allocation to a system-wide consolidation of services and assets, and to underweight their allocation of cost savings to departmental efficiencies. Understanding your political will to make these kinds of tough decisions is absolutely essential. It will help you to determine realistically how much of your overall cost reduction goal is achievable by these system-wide decisions versus the kinds of labor and non-labor savings your department heads and vice presidents should be accountable for achieving. A cost reduction effort is a great time to introduce or strengthen this value improvement framework to streamline areas of overinvestment in your organization. As Jim Collins put it, one key decision about what to stop doing might have as much impact as 5 new initiatives. Whether you pursue a stop doing list as a cost reduction strategy or not, the demanding discipline of not doing can be a keystone habit for your organization and lead to other good habits and disciplines that you need to create. We have many tools and resources that can help your organization to streamline its investments in non-core programs, assets, functions, locations, positions, projects, and initiatives. Thanks for taking the time to view our presentation on habit number 4, Doing the Right Things, one of our 8 habits of highly effective cost management. I encourage you to call us or visit our ChannonConsulting.com website for additional information.